Okay, we're good to go. So Kurt wanted me to stand up here, kind of get out of your way. Hopefully, can everyone hear me okay? Is there a little echo or whatever? Okay. Well, good deal. And thank you, Kurt, for the introduction. A great crowd here, and hopefully you see my bio here. I've written several books which are available this evening if interested. And my Carriage Houses of Louisville, which actually this talk came out of this book because carriage houses, horses, things of that nature. And so I included most of the Louisville vintage firehouses in this book that you'll see. I do want to acknowledge all the sources that I used in putting this presentation together. And as Kurt was indicating, please feel free to interject. I do like interactive presentations. I'm not a firefighter, so if you have a story to tell about one of these firehouses, feel free to raise your hand and we'll give you the mic and you can speak about it. But these are the individuals that I've utilized. I met with several hours earlier this week with Cletus Blandford over at the Louisville Fire Museum, and got updated on a lot of information from him. He's at Churchill Downs this evening working, so that's the reason why he's not here. But anyways, you can see the other folks I've gotten data from. Of course, we're at the Vintage Fire Museum here. Beautiful facility. All the great apparatus that is here. All that interesting. And here is that new firehouse storage area that Kurt was just mentioning. Some of the drawings, and the drawings are actually right around here on the other side. This will be a phenomenal facility when completed. This was a national article on firehouse history that I came across a few years ago, and it talks about how they came about and why they were so important. This was letterhead for the Louisville Fire Department. And if you notice real closely, the building beyond is not of Louisville, it's of Cincinnati. Because Cincinnati had the first paid fire department in the nation. Louisville was number 3. And then I think St. Louis was second. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it was second. But anyways, that's the historic letterhead. And then on the right there is the Louisville Fire Museum across the way here. It's over at 34th and River Park Drive, and in the back of that firehouse that's there. It's very well put together. I enjoyed being there. And on the left was when a number of vintage fire equipment and material was donated to the Filson Club back in 1919. I'm not sure if Filson still has that or if it's been redonated back to the city, but anyways, fascinating information there also. There's actually a Wikipedia page on Louisville firehouses that I came across. I do not know if anyone put it. Is there anyone here that manages this page before I talk about it? Okay. And the reason why I'm going to talk about it is a lot of these dates are incorrect up here. So hopefully whoever is managing this page can go in and maybe use my information that I have researched and updated a lot of this information. But anyways, they only have about maybe 2/3 of the firehouses I want to talk about this evening. So let's go way back when horses drew the fire equipment. See it there? And then, of course, it starts to be motorized. Horse-drawn versus motorized equipment. Some more images there. And of course, it's drastically changed over the years, hasn't it? In the past 100 or so years. So when it went from horse-drawn to motorized, probably started about right here in 1898, when the first electric car appeared on the streets of Louisville. And that was the first motorized vehicle here in the region. It was made up in Indianapolis and shipped down on the railroad and was driven around on the streets of Louisville. And then, unfortunately, the days of the horses were over. In the spring of 1925 is when the last fire horses were retired in the city. This vehicle here started out as a horse-drawn fire equipment, and then it was converted to motorized. They just hooked the horses and hooked up the truck to the front of it. I love this image that Cletus gave to me. It's a City Hall on fire. And some of you may be familiar with that back in 1875. I'm not exactly sure what caused the fire. Could have been a lightning strike perhaps. If anyone knows, let me know. But anyways, it caught fire. And what's really fascinating about this is the firemen didn't have to come very far. They were right next door. There was the firehouse next door to it, and he actually had a fire watch up in the clock tower. So yes, they were right involved. And if you look real closely, you see the fireman scaling a ladder going up to the fire right here. Just a phenomenal painting.
Phenomenally dangerous.
Yes, phenomenally dangerous, yes. This is the current Louisville Fire Districts. That's on the City Hall website. If that's not correct, you can talk to the City Hall people about this. A few years ago, the Courier-Journal did a nice feature on the historic firehouses back in 2006. So let's start at the beginning. Prior to the paid fire departments, there were volunteer fire departments. And this was a firehouse that was given to the volunteers as the Volunteer Firemen's Historical Organization. It was located on 1st Street between Jefferson and Liberty Streets. And the little the chief direction is what I'm told, at the very top. It has been preserved, and it's actually now at the Speed Art Museum in their lower level exhibit hall there. It's very cool. And so where that firehouse or fire location was, here's Jefferson Street, Liberty Street, it was right here. No longer there, of course. So engine number 1 started out there at on 411 East Jefferson Street. It was called the Charles Jacob Firehouse. And you'll be seeing these names throughout. Charles Jacob, I'm sure most of you are familiar, was a mayor of Louisville, but they gave names to all the firehouses. I do not know when that tradition changed, but I'll go through some of these names throughout my presentation. So engine number 1 was over here on East Jefferson at 411 East Jefferson. Then it became over here at Highland Park, over by the airport. It was actually right here, and there was some sort of a pharmacy or a convenience store next door that the firemen kept in business, I believe. And then here's where that engine number 1 was once located, right here. So you can see Preston, Jefferson, Jackson, Market. It was sold at auction for $3,150. I'm not sure what that converts to in today's money, but I'm sure someone got a pretty good deal out of it. So now engine 1 is located over by the airport. It's there. And this was it prior to the new firehouse being built over on Green Lane. Anyone work at that firehouse or they're familiar with it? Oh, there you go. Engine number 2. Everyone's still very familiar with this building. It still exists downtown. They're at 517 West Jefferson. City Hall's right over here. This was the city jail, I understand, right adjacent to it. But anyways, yeah, and again, different names. Benjamin Franklin Bach was actually a descendant of Benjamin Franklin, I understand. And Benjamin Franklin was very much involved with firefighting up in Philadelphia. And some of the portraits, I think, of Emil Berlin, his image is up here along with one of the fire chiefs. So now we're going to, again, engine number 2, John Baxter Firehouse, again, another mayor of Louisville, and then the headquarters building. Anyone work at that location? Oh, a lot of folks have. New one, yeah, yes, 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 yes. It's been a while since the old one has been around. Everyone's familiar with, hopefully, with this Vintage Firehouse. It's still there, still doing service. Paul Barth, I believe he was also a mayor of Louisville. And it's now Quill's Coffee House. Go there often, I'm sure hopefully everyone else does also. And there was a fraternal lodge up above it that had meetings there. You enter through the door to the side. But anyway. I love these old cupolas, and we'll be seeing these a lot. These cupolas that are very top there that would have either the bells or they would have a fire watch up there. And unfortunately, I don't think most or any of them still exist. They were open air, so the rain got into it. They were very weatherized, impacted, and had to be taken down due to that. So here's engine number 3 out on Dutchman's Lane. I'm sure hopefully everyone's familiar with this. Tellersville Road and Dutchman's Lane. I go by this on a regular basis. This is a phenomenal firehouse. The Flans Firehouse, J.R. Flans. It still exists at 2301 Jefferson Street. Here's a little article on it that appeared, 42 years ago, 1981. And this is what it looks like today. It's I think it was a sculptor that purchased this, or a cabinet maker, but it's being used for construction and sculpturing and artwork and things of that nature, so the person still owns it. Hopefully it's in a little bit better condition. I took these photographs about 10 years ago, but I believe that property owner still inhabits this. Some more. And they kept a lot of the original cabinet work inside. Engine number 4, 1617 West Main, still exists. I'm not sure what it is today, but it is still there. This is my firehouse. I live in the Crescent Hill area. Engine number 4. This is a fascinating story here on this firehouse. It was originally a church, St. John's Episcopal Church, I believe, in 1847, that the city then purchased in 1870 and converted into a firehouse. Here are some more vintage photographs of it. So here is how it has changed. So they took the single door and made it into double.
I think the building's been converted into condos.
Has it been residential now? It used to be an art gallery, I believe, at one time, I think. Art gallery, then residential perhaps now. Still there, still going strong. What? It was built when? In 1847, so 180 some odd years ago, maybe?
It's amazing.
They don't build them like that anymore, do they?
Yeah.
So here we go. This is engine number 5. The Edward Hughes Firehouse. I think he was a chief, a fire chief, if I have that correct. Beautiful old building. Too bad it's no longer with us. The George Washington France Firehouse on Portland Avenue in the Portland neighborhood. This is engine number 6 now. So they decommissioned it a number of years ago, and now it's a storefront. I'm not sure exactly what's in there currently, but
Steve,
what's
they were
there?
pretty proud of that renovation too, by the way.
Oh, okay. He's saying that they're very proud of that renovation. I've not been inside it, so I'm not sure what all they've done.
No, they just want to get rid of that second story.
Oh, well, they've got the flagpole still there, I noticed.
Yeah. Well, they've moved the company though.
This engine number 7 is still there out on Bardstown Road, there on Eastern Parkway. It's housed at Oriental Rug Company, I believe, at one point. I think an engineering firm is in there currently. It's a beautiful firehouse in the near the Cherokee Triangle area.
That's truck 7.
Trunk 7? Oh, okay.
Truck.
Okay, I'll get that corrected. Thank you. Yeah, any of those type corrections, please let me know. I am not a firefighter. You guys know these better than I.
Oh, here we go.
Engine number 7, I hope.
Engine 7.
Good deal. Henry Tyler, and he was mayor as well, I understand. And you see the horse-drawn apparatus there. Here's engine 7, and it closed back in, 2008 it says. And I'm not sure, there's some sort of courier company that's in there presently.
Steve, do you
Yes.
know, when I worked there years ago, they said that it was the longest continuously, or the oldest continuously used fire station in the country at that time. I don't know, I mean, I know it dates to 1871, before the city actually extended that far south.
So what is that, 107 years, I want to say, 137 years? If I'm doing the math correct, 137 years? It could very well have been various.
It still had the harness racks and.
Still had all the horse,
hose
all the
racks
horse.
and all that stuff.
But no, I do not know if it was the oldest firehouse still operating at that time, but 137 years, that's a pretty good, long time, yes.
So, how about Madison's?
Madison's Washington Fire Company number 2 has been in operation since 1848.
Ah,
Well, I think you got, if it's still operating, then I would say.
It is still operating, and it's the oldest continuous operating fire station.
is that
Now,
right?
it's volunteer,
Yeah.
so it's not staffed.
But that's over in Madison, Indiana, correct?
Madison, Indiana.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So here's number 8, and this was on Broadway, around the 12th Street area. I don't have the exact address on this, but just look at that, sort of a cathedral-like design, beautiful firehouse. Can you imagine?
I always heard that was actually on 13th Street, it wasn't on Broadway.
It could have been 13, it's right in that area near Broadway, I understand.
Yeah, but
Sort of around where the McDonald's was, is what I was told. But whether that's correct or not,
The railroad track.
I think it's
The
another
old timers I
station.
talked to,
maybe down near 14th Street then?
13,
it was on
13th.
13.
Yeah, there's still a house on 13th right at the railroad tracks.
Okay,
Still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
The old engine 8s were always on.
okay. And as some of you know, it's the first black fire company in the system. So is this building still
Yeah, it's
there?
the one
Someone
that's
said it was still there, and I looked
Yeah,
on Google
it's-
Earth, and I
That's
couldn't
the
find
one,
that.
it's still there.
Good, thank you. That's great to know.
That's the engine 8 that I talked about, that I knew guys that worked there.
That would make a great fire museum, wouldn't it? I love it. That is great. Thank y'all, that helps. So anyways, now Engine 8 is down there on Hikes Lane. Now then, the Five Brothers Firehouse, very similar in design as to number 8. This is number 9. And it was named for the Finzer brothers, who owned the Finzer Tobacco Company, and there were 5 brothers, and that's why it was called the Five Brothers Firehouse. And this is the Finzer's gravesite in Cave Hill Cemetery. It's in section 5 if you go up there. It's really, that section 5 in Cave Hill is a beautiful section, and this is one of the signature monuments there. So here I compare number 8 and number 9. Look at that. Gosh, I just wish one of those was still around.
Oh, really? Really?
Just phenomenal. Beautiful firehouses. Little Art Deco here, 1943, engine number 9
It's
on
amazing.
Breckenridge Street, which I think is still in operation.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing that they were still using some Art Deco that late.
Yes, 43 is very late for Art Deco. Probably took them a while to get the funding to build it.
I think it's because it wasn't too long after the headquarters building, which is Art Deco.
Which is Art Deco as well. Yes.
This is like 5 years later or something.
One of the more well-known firehouses in Louisville is this one in Butchertown neighborhood. engine number 10.
Hey Steve,
Yes,
this firehouse here back in the 90s used to be the Allen House.
correct.
And at the time, I worked for a courier company. I went in there one day and back in the 90s, they still had the turnstile in the middle of the floor where they would pull a lot of people thought they'd back a wagon in, they didn't back them in, they pulled them in. They would pull them in and put them on this turnstile, and they would unhitch the horses, and the horses would walk to the stalls. They would push a button on the floor, and they would spin it 180 and get ready for the wagon to go again. It was really kind of neat to see it. I mean, the floors were finished and everything. It was neat.
Yeah, they renovated, I'll show you some photographs of the interior now. They did not keep that turntable. I've been inside this old firehouse, but that would have been a great feature to have retained. But yeah, they really, it doesn't, I don't think the firefighters enjoyed this sort of luxury when they were there.
You think?
They did leave some of the original wood flooring in there, around.
I guess that was upstairs, because that's like the trap door.
No, this is the lower level. This is on the first floor.
Is that on the first floor? Well,
Yeah.
what was that?
That's right inside the front door.
Correct.
That is. That's where they go to work.
That's where they put all the bad people. And they put a horse up over the fire manholes, do the horse. But there is the interior. Yeah, I don't think the firefighters had this type of sleeping arrangement
Oh
either.
yeah, I was just like that.
Picture the white carpet.
Oh, gosh. But they did retain the fire pole is still there, it still exists, and you can see some of the firefighters and the apparatus that they had.
It was,
Engine number 10 out in the Beachmont neighborhood area, built in 1924. I understand it opened on Christmas Day, and while they had all the according to Cletus, he was saying that they had all the dignitaries there, the mayor and all the high officials. They had a fire run in the middle of the ceremony is what I heard. So interesting that they did that, but it's been expanded. I understand it's more of they have a training facility there as well, I believe, or the arson unit.
that's the distinction we owe. Trucks and engines.
This is one of the more famous fire engine houses as well, number 11, the one on Rogers Street.
Mm-hmm. It was just engine 11, there was no truck 7.
Okay, thank you. Just 11.
Engines.
There was no truck there.
So I got these historical documents here. These were the firefighters when it opened up. The city, the newspaper did these really nice sketches of the firefighters, gave them a little bio, very nice. Vincent Bradis, this is his obituary here. He was a city councilman that helped fund the firehouse and get it built. And I'm not sure if you all recognize the Bradis name, but there was a candy company here called Bradis and Gaines, and his father, Peter Bradis, founded Bradis and Gaines. And so that's where Vincent sort of got his money, if you will, and helped build the firehouse. This is engine number 11. Now is it truck 7 there?
Truck
Quinn 7, okay.
Engine
And
11
everyone wants
moved
to
over.
yeah, go ahead.
Engine 11 moved over from Rogers Street.
Roger Street to this location.
And truck 7 from Bardstown Road to here.
Uh,
I think it was about 1975.
And if anyone wants to explain the difference between a truck and a quint, you're welcome to do so. I think it's a combination, right? A quint has several functions with it.
Back to basics, Steve. Trucks and engines.
Okay.
Truck's got the ladders and the tools, the engine's got the hose. Then you get complicated with quads and quints.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it's a little more complicated.
Don't need to know.
Okay. On a need-to-know basis, I got you. Jacob Home Firehouse there. I was at Madison and 22nd Street on the southeast corner on Toad. Very majestic firehouse. It's now out there on Manslick Road. This firehouse, I need some TLC. It's there at 34th and West Market Street, built in 1924. It didn't last very long. The 1937 flood kind of wiped it out, if you will. I've heard that it's in very poor condition.
Is that near the newly opened Parkland Library?
Could very well be. It's in that general. Yes,
It's actually 34th and Main.
34th and Main. Okay, now
No.
one street, one block over.
Yeah.
there.
It's on block one.
Gotcha. But yeah, it's in kind of a bad condition from what I understand. The Dr. Carrie B. Blackburn Firehouse, 33rd and Rudd, down by Our Lady Church, Catholic Church, I understand. Again, it's no longer there. Carrie was the son of the governor of Kentucky, who was named Blackburn. The William Mayer Firehouse. This is still there, very beautiful firehouse. I think it's sold, I think it's had several occupants over the years. Gosh, I just wish some of this chateau ornamentation had been retained.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal design.
It's almost, must have been the same architect that did that and
Pope.
up at the Pope.
One, Frankfurt and Pope, yeah, we'll get to that here shortly, but yeah, you're right, they're very similar in design.
Really neat.
Engine 14 out there on Poplar Level Road, Fincastle and the Camp Teller area. Preston Street, which is still in existence, I believe. Anyone work at Preston Street? There you go. I know the city has proposed replacing some of the firehouses. I'm not sure if this is one of them, but
They don't run any companies out of there, but Truck 3, that's at 6 and Hill, was the hook and ladder was in there, but engine 15, what did he move 15s to? I forget.
it's still
15s, I think 15's still there.
15's still there. Still there.
15's still there.
15 still there.
And 15, truck 3 was there when I came in.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Here's engine 16. It's down there near 6th and Hill. And of course, right across the street, they built a new fire station.
Across the street, yeah.
So this is on one side, that's on the other. This is one of my favorites, engine number 17, down there near Brown Foreman Distillery on Garland Avenue. Beautiful. I've actually been in this when I was an architect. We did some renovation to the upstairs quarters there. Beautiful fire engine house. I think this is going to remain. I think they're just going to renovate this. Just working on the fire engine. Beautiful fire station. This one is still in existence. I think they just renovated it not long ago. Over there near Churchill Downs area in U of L on 4th Street. This poor firehouse needs some help.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it's at 28 near Hell Street. And it became a community center, and I think it's vacant now. I don't know what's in there currently, but it's not in the best of condition. Now this is number 19 here, and very massive complex. It houses both the fire department and the police. I'm told that the horse stalls still exist at this facility, if anyone has been there and have seen those.
Yes.
So why are they keeping the horse stalls?
We use it for storage and stuff.
Storage? Gotcha. And there was a holding cell in there, I understand. And a number of the firehouses had holding cells. Someone was talking about some bad people early on, but yeah, I understand that the one there on Garland had a holding cell as well. By the way, if you've not been on this website, I highly recommend it. KentuckyFireTrucks.com has a wealth of information there on fire apparatus. This is engine number 21 there on Frankfurt and Pope. It's the Albert Stoll firehouse. I believe he was on the school board, I believe was Albert Stoll. But according to Cletus, this clock that was in the tower came from the original Walnut Street Baptist Church. That was a fascinating little tale of that. And do you think the fire truck was designed just to get through that opening there? Look at that. Boy, you folks back in those trucks, man, I tell you. I watch the ones on Frankfurt Avenue all the time, and they just go up and whip it right back in.
One on 15th Street, they had to reinforce it. It had like an I-beam column. The hook ladder had to go around it when he backed in.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
It was tricky.
Tricky, yes, tricky backing that one in. And here are some interior photographs of when it was a firehouse and the architectural first floor plan. Luxurious accommodations you guys have, just
It was
phenomenal.
great when it got looking like that. You should have seen it before that.
That's all remodeled.
Oh, that's the remodel version, huh?
That's remodeled, that's way updated.
Yeah.
And now it's a Silver Dollar bar and restaurant. We just had a big tour there. I think some of you were at that tour just recently. They still have the fire pole there. And there's the second floor. Again, luxurious accommodations. Hopefully that was updated as well.
Yeah, it is. That window right there used to blow snow in it. I slept in front of it.
Not very well weatherized is what you're saying.
It didn't have no storm windows.
This is now what it looks like. It's a community room upstairs. There, I think you're in there with this photograph here. Cletus is there in the center and talking about the firehouse. And again, the architectural style is very similar to the one that we saw earlier.
Wish it had that hose tower still, man. That was
Yeah,
special.
that was phenomenal. And I think that was masonry. And I asked Cletus about that. I said, why would they have taken that down?
That wasn't a hose tower.
Well, or a clock tower, or watch
It was a
tower.
watchtower.
And that's all it was.
That's all it was.
Huh.
That was gone by 1970.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was in, it was going.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all.
That's phenomenal. Oh,
I had seen a picture that had two of those on it, but I don't know when the first one got deleted.
yeah, I'm not
That's
seeing.
that over, they built the theater over
There was
there.
one on that side and one on this side. I'd seen a picture in
Wow.
our archives that we had.
But see, if you notice in the picture, they had a theater was built right next to it. And you see
Yeah,
that
Hilltop Theater
Yeah.
was next door.
So they might have taken it down then.
Yeah.
How does that say looking ladder 3? I don't think there was ever a looking ladder there.
It was before it was quad six.
Actually, it was quad 6 up to 1970, and then came 21s after
Quad
that.
6 and 21.
21s changed up to Frankfurt and
Three
Frank.
before it was quad six.
Frankfurt and Frankfurt were 21s was until 1970. It switched out.
You were up there too, weren't you, Bob?
Yeah.
Good deal. Engine number 22, do not have too much on this firehouse. I don't even have a photograph of when it had the doors on it. You can see the hinges are still there. Does anyone know any more information on this firehouse as to why it didn't last very long evidently?
It's got 37 flood marks on it, though.
37
Painted, you know, high water marks.
So that may have impacted it and why.
Oh, yeah.
I worked there one that's still active in the 70s.
That was at 84.
Yeah, so they built truck built 22s.
Yeah, 84, so they built a new one at 34.
Yeah,
River Park.
A very beautiful firehouse, very nice, very well built. Now here's engine 22, which very recent firehouse, beautiful firehouse. In fact, very nicely built.
Steve,
Yes.
an interesting point about that was we moved in there the first day. I happened to be working that day. It was so confusing to get up in the middle of the night and everything was on a 45-degree back. I mean, everybody running into one another. How we get to
I won't, I used to work for the architect that designed this.
It's neat.
Little confession, he loved 45-degree angles.
It was neat.
Yeah, he designed a number of buildings with 45s. I won't mention who he was, but I know how this came about. And engine number 23 on Kenwood Drive, and I do understand this one's going to be replaced, if I've heard that right, out by Iroquois Park area. Boy, can you imagine backing those trucks and all back in that tight space?
Tight,
Ooh.
real tight.
You have to fold your mirrors in, don't you, I would think? Okay, let's go into, so those are the 23, and that's all I have, up to 23. There wasn't a 24th, was there, that I'm aware of?
I don't think so.
I think we just go up to 23. So let's go into southern Indiana. I love this image here, Jeffersonville Fire Department. Started in 1871. Changed a little bit, the style of firefighting a bit. And then this photograph here, I actually got off of this building. As you look from the outside, you can see this image on one of the windows there. So that's how I got that image with the horse-drawn apparatus out front. And then this illustration is also of that firehouse, but of course the tower is long gone. Can you imagine them taking that tower down? Goodness gracious. Oh, why? And unfortunately, I don't have too much on Jeffersonville, and I'm not sure if we have any Jeffersonville firefighters here, but hopefully you folks can update your websites and get some more of your history out there of the firehouses. I don't have too much there. I don't even know the location of this one here. I got this off the internet. I hope this is correct. You never know when you get things off the internet if it's correct or not. But I'm not sure the exact location here. It said this photograph was 1919. And these are the current firehouses in Jeffersonville. They're very nice, some very nice modern facilities here.
Fire station number 1 is only about a block away from us here.
Now, we do have a lot of information on New Albany, and here are the 5 stations there. Now, I got these off the website. If that's incorrect, then the website is wrong. And so this was a firehouse, engine number 1 at 13th and Market, built in 1874. It was demolished in 1944. And there's engine number 1 currently, brand new. Now, this has probably been built, what?
That's engine 3, truck 1, that's the headquarters.
Okay.
One's at 13th Market, that's engine 3, truck 1.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm not sure where I got that information at, but I need to update it. Now, I said this is engine number 2, is that correct?
That's actually, yeah, you're right, yeah.
And someone was talking about hazardous duty. This is always a favorite photograph of mine. This was before OSHA.
Buildings across the street from headquarters and is headed up.
Okay.
Actually, truck there.
Wow. And that is still there?
Yep.
Yeah, there's the other firehouse right over here. This is it also. I believe this is the same building. Yeah. Just the tower gone. Some more images of it. Beautiful firehouse. Is that engine number 2, I hope? Yes, no?
Went to currently, but originally 2.
Okay. Love this, I always go by this in New Albany when I'm there. Built in 1855, what is that, 170 years ago.
Wow.
It is still there. And again, they had to fold their mirrors to get that fire truck in. There it is today.
As far as we know, that double-decker hand pumper back here was housed in that one that you just showed.
Oh, wow, this one here, number 3. But yeah, and I like when they put up on the buildings when it actually was built. That helps us historians a whole lot. We've got those little plaques out front. I got this as engine number 5. I'm not sure if that's correct.
I renovated that one.
What was that again?
I renovated number 5, Skippy the fire dog,
Yeah,
Graves right there on the
dogs
side.
there, the headstones out on the number 3 side, number 2 side. Nah, it was not. Nah, it's number 2 side.
And I think it's a residence now. I think
It's
so.
a multifamily, it's an apartment.
Okay.
It's got 4 apartments in it.
There's some renderings of it. And again, I don't believe this one is in existence. I mean, yeah, it's still, I think it's still there, correct? Number 7, but not being used.
That's number 4, state union.
Oh, okay, State and Union.
Martinsville Fireman bought that tire, he turned it into a residence. And we made a fire behind the building, the horse barn's over there. We made a fire in the alley one night, I was still on his team. He, it was 12, 1 o'clock in the morning anyway, he took us in and showed us around, let us see it. And I worked a lot in that firehouse.
Wow.
And it was really cool to see. I spent like the last night there before it closed. And then to go back several years later to see what he had done to it. It's pretty impressive. For renovating.
Well, next time I'm over in the area, I'll stop by and knock on the door.
That's actually for the lobby where the African American firefighters were stationed at when they got hired on the fire department too. Edgar Abbott, Meritorian, that's where they were initially, Henderson, that's where they were all stationed at.
And I wish more fire departments would do this, in which they take their vintage photographs and show the 100-year differential there of New Albany. That is just a phenomenal. And that photograph actually is right around the corner here in the Vintage Fire Museum if you want to see it without the reflections on it. But that is just a superb photograph showing the horse-drawn to the motorized. And there's my books, if anyone's interested. Thanks for attending. And y'all really were interactive throughout the presentation. I'm not sure if there's any other questions, but I have a feeling if you do have a question, one of the firefighters here will answer that question for you. But yeah, any questions on some of these firehouses as to what they were? If you worked in one of those, feel free to talk about it. Yeah. Now, Kurt, if you want to take the microphone and maybe pass it around, let some of the folks talk about it.
So, did anybody want to say anything in
About some
addition?
of these firehouses?
Otherwise, how about a nice big round of applause?